Hi, I'm Sue Phillips from the Faithify project team, and I'm here to spend a few minutes with you to show you how to post a project on Faithify. The first thing you need to do for yourself is to create a profile on the login screen and register. You'll be presented with a few simple questions about yourself, the standard asking for your name and email address, to create a username and a password, and to answer a few basic demographic questions about yourself. This is to help us get to know our users a little bit better. The username and password will allow you to create a profile through which you can track things like the projects that you have posted and any projects you may have followed or funded from other project proposers. Once you have created a profile for yourself, go back to the home page and select Post a Project. We give you some resources here on the Post a Project page for you to get yourself organized before you've actually getting ready to enter the information. It's important that you check these out. They include some tips and tricks, but also just help you plan better, because actually posting the project on Faithify should be one of the last things you do. You can begin by looking at how to post a project, which goes through each of the question elements on the proposal page one by one. The tips are here with the little chalice flame and some examples in orange, and it just provides extensive thoughts for you, including advice about how you might fill these questions out. You can also print this out and share it with others. It's in PDF format. We also give you a blank project page to download. This allows you to actually create the text for your Faithify proposal offline. This is important in part because technology is always a little unstable. Your browser can close, your computer can crash. You might need to share the text with other people on your team before you go ahead and post it. But in any event, just fill this out offline, and then all you have to do is cut and paste when the time comes. Last but not least, here on the Post a Project page, you're going to see some suggestions for how to activate your networks. If you're not ready to activate your networks, you're not ready to post a project on Faithify. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in just a few minutes. But for now, let's go back to the How to Post a Project page and get ready to post your project. The first step on your journey to posting a project is to create an account on WePay. WePay is our payment processing vendor. It's an external third-party vendor, but we have a relatively seamless integration of WePay with our website. And so you need to create an account with them so that they know where to put the money when the time comes. And you'll need to fill out this very simple page with some basic information, understanding that this account is tied to an individual person and an individual email address. This is the person whose name all of the funds will be in. So make sure you're an authorized person. It's going to be you or whoever you name here that can be the only person who receives funds from WePay. Once you've completed the registration on WePay, you can go back to the Post a Project page and select Post a Project. One of the things that you need to remember is that communicating in short, kind of punchy ways is as important on Faithify as it is anywhere else, if not more important. And so the words you use to describe yourself are critically important. Take some time to think these things through before you actually get to the site. Starting with the project title. This is the title that shows up on your actual project page and on the front page of Faithify. You can see here some examples of titles and brief descriptions that you're going to want to mimic. Whatever you think is the best kind of approach here on the existing projects is one you can simply take advantage of their learning and mimic on your own site. There are only a few things that cannot be edited later in your process. As the project owner, you can go in later and change virtually anything about your project, even once it's been posted. But there are a couple of things you can never change. One of them is the Faithify goal. Once you set the goal, you cannot change it. And also, once you set the number of days that the campaign is live on Faithify, you also cannot change that. Think about these things carefully. There are advantages and disadvantages to every campaign duration, mostly having to do with momentum and how quickly you can build it. Many of the longer campaigns find that there's a bit of a lull smack in the middle, after the first few $1,000s is raised, but before they meet their campaign goal. So keep that in mind. How long can you sustain your momentum? Choosing the Faithify goal is obviously of critical importance because if you don't meet your goal, you won't get any money. These are all or nothing campaigns. There are many reasons for this, which are outlined in the Post a Project PDF tip sheet we told you about, but pick your goal carefully. As of the summer of 2014, most of the goals have been underneath $15,000, and virtually all have been met to date. The next section asks you to categorize your project. And the goal here is to help people find you, not to find the absolute perfect category for you that masterfully describes your project. Many of the users who engage our site are going to be especially interested in one of these ministries, and we invite you to choose as many as might be applicable to describe your project. One other area we want to cover here is what you need to do to add media. So the Add Media button governs any place in your project proposal that you want to add video or audio or photos. It's quite simple. You just click on the button and you can add all of your media at once or piecemeal, but they're going to be put into this library from which you can select entries at any point as you're entering your information on the Faithify proposal page. You can edit the text. We invite you to do so to make it look as pretty as possible. Please take special care with these two questions on the proposal project page. How does your project claim Unitarian Universalism? And how is your project claimed by Unitarian Universalism? These two questions are the heart and soul of Faithify, and we ask you to take extra care answering them. This is your opportunity to demonstrate your connections to Unitarian Universalism and to show your donors how your project is important to as wide a range of UUs as possible. We also give you an opportunity to name your partners, remembering that you can use video testimonials or pictures of the people you're quoting. This is an opportunity for others in your community to speak on your behalf. Finally, you'll notice a few other basic requests for information about your partners, endorsements. So you've entered all your information and you're ready to submit your project. You have a choice now. After you've initially put in all your information, you'll want to have a look at it to make sure that it's just what you wanted. You, of course, have the option to save and preview your project proposal. This means that you can continue to edit it to your heart's content until you're ready to actually submit the project. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But meanwhile, once you've saved your project, it shows up like a draft. And the way that you can access that is through your profile on Faithify. Once you're ready, you think you have exactly what you want, you're ready to post it, you press Submit Project. And what this does is on the back end of Faithify, it sends an automatic note to the Faithify administrators who have a look at your project to make sure that it meets our minimum qualifications, which would be really two parts. One is that it's complete enough to be reviewed by potential donors, and that you have answered the question about claiming and being claimed by Unitarian Universalism. So after you've submitted the project, we need a half day to 24 hours to review the proposal and post it on the site. All right, so you're ready to press submit on your project, but you know that before you do that, you need to pay some serious thought to how to get people excited about your project. We know there are a couple of really important points in the duration of your campaign. The first is getting folks psyched before your project ever gets on Faithify. And there are a number of things you're going to want to do. All the things you already know, because you're probably already good at getting people excited about your ministry. So that means announcements in church, it means newsletter articles, it means already activating your Twitter followers and your Facebook followers, everybody you can think of, your mother's friends, the Bridge group, your old friends from college, anybody who you think might be invested in you or your project, get them going. Anticipate the launch, and then line up some donors if you can before you ever press submit. And the reason for this is basic human psychology, that people get excited about things other people are excited about. Get folks lined up, press submit, get ready to go on Faithify. But then realize that your job is not done. There are several critical points, and you need to have an activation strategy that will last throughout the duration of your campaign. If you overemphasize the beginning, forgetting about the middle and the end, that will be a mistake. What we have found so far is that there's often a lull in giving in the middle of a campaign. This is totally normal. It's seen across crowdfunding platforms. And what you can do, first of all, is just take heart during those times, but remember to keep the momentum up. The psychology of crowdfunding often suggests that people are motivated by an impending deadline, so make sure you plan to focus a lot of energy on activating your networks in the last few days of a project. It's often true that 50% of your funding can come in just the last few days. If you take care with activating your networks, you stand a very good chance of succeeding on Faithify. Good luck with your project.